At Atchison Hospital and clinics, we provide service and care in a number of ways to our patients, to family members and visitors, and yes, even our coworkers. Our CARES behavior standards are guidelines developed to assist us in building the kind of culture we want to have in our organization. A culture where patients' clinical and emotional needs will be met and where our staff will also feel valued and cared for. CARES standards has been an integral part of our organization for several years. They are integrated into our daily work practices as well as our hiring and interview processes, our new employee orientation, and employee evaluations. We have 2 established recognitions with the CARES program, the on-the-spot peer-to-peer recognition and our CARES WOW recognition. We are very excited and proud to share with you the extraordinary stories of our 2017 CARES recipients. Courage. Kelly McCarty is going to share with us how one of her team members, Lana White, went above and beyond to help provide information and updates to a patient waiting for a procedure.
The letter C in CARES stands for courage, and when you think about courage in my mind, I think about the courage to step up, represent, be a patient advocate, and make sure that things are being taken care of. We had a patient that came in that was having a difficult time where they were in a challenging situation. And so Lana became the patient's advocate. And she really took it upon herself to try to figure out the issues that this particular person was having, kept checking with different departments and making sure that his needs were being met. It took quite a bit of time, at least an hour and a half, so she kept going back and forth. The patient called me, and do you remember that?
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember that, yes.
Yes, you and I had talked about that earlier in the day.
Right.
And so you had told me what happened. I actually thought the patient was upset. And what he said was, no. He says, I'm looking for Lana's manager because I want to commend her for the great job that she's done. And so I explained to him that we had this CARES program. He said, that sounds perfect to give her special recognition for that because I can really, truly say that Lana cares.
I just try to look at the patients as like family, you know, if that was my father or my mother or brother or sister, or make sure that we do what we can do for them. We want to treat them like they need to be treated right, you know.
Accountability. Brandy Falk, nominated by Jan Crockett, is a true example of accountability. She willingly came in late at night to run a critical lab test for a patient in the ER.
There was one night I was working house supervisor. ER was really, really busy. It's one of those crazy nights. We had somebody come in who was really sick. They had to do a lumbar puncture.
A lumbar basically is a spinal fluid, which once they draw it from the patient, there's 4 tubes. We do, depending on the orders, do a lot of testing.
The lab tech was an agency lab tech that we had, and she was by herself and she was completely overwhelmed. I called Brandy and begged her to please come in and help, and she so graciously did. It was after 10 o'clock at night, and I know she was ready for bed, and because she does day shift. She came in and she ran the test. She got us through the crisis, and it was, I couldn't have appreciated her more.
I didn't really hesitate. I knew my husband was at home with kids, so they were sleeping. So I just said, I can come in if you want me to. Give me 15 minutes. May not look my best, but I'll be in. I just made sure that the family was A-okay. Husband told me to go. I went ahead and came in and got here, and it kind of started out with, we did what was ordered. There was some chemistries ordered, so I had to get the quality control done on it and get it started. And then I believe he wanted cell counts on the spinal fluids, and since there is 4 different tubes, he wanted it 2 different times. So that took a good couple hours, and then once I made sure that tech was, it calmed down a little bit, and then I just left because I knew I'd had to get up actually not the next day, that morning, to come back to work, so.
It was after midnight when she left.
It was.
It was very much appreciated, and she's very deserving of this honor.
Respect. Marianne Moit nominated Brooke Gunnell for demonstrating respectfulness. Leslie Moranz is going to share Brooke's story.
So Brooke was awarded the CARES Award for Respect. She had 2 separate instances with 2 different patients. The first patient had to come in to have an MRI. That patient had an implanted device that needed to be updated. So Brooke took it upon herself to call the rep for the device. The patient came in, the rep called, they got all the software updated. Brooke had the device turned off so she could perform her MRI.
Yeah, he walked us through the proper way to turn the device back on so it could function properly.
So without that extra care, that patient wouldn't have been able to have an MRI. The second patient was a patient that was extremely claustrophobic.
So when the patient arrived, I knew he had the anxiety, and I believe he probably took a little bit of type of sedation to help relax him, but even then he knew it wasn't going to be enough. So knowing that, we take extra steps into trying to make sure that he can get through this test and get the answers that he needs. If that means after every 3-minute picture we bring him out to get some fresh air, to talk, just so he knows that he's not going to get stuck in that machine and there is a way out, because a lot of people that are claustrophobic, that's their fear, that we're going to leave them in there and they're not going to get back out. So even the headset that we have where we're able to communicate with them, all those things help to alleviate their fears as much as we can. But for me, I think it's the constant talking to them and letting them know that you're there and that you can see them and hear them and that everything's okay helps them to get through it.
The patient said that if it wasn't for Brooke and everything that she did and the TLC that she provided and all the tricks she pulled out of her bag, he wouldn't have done it.
So it's great to be nominated and to be recognized, but at the end of the day, it's my job and it's what we're here for.
Excellence. Robin Grantham was asked if she could come back into work to perform an inpatient MRI. In her nomination, Marianne Moit stated, "What Robin did after that proved her deserving of this nomination and much more."
Robin was nominated for the Excellence Award with CARES. Robin always goes above and beyond. Whenever I ask her to do anything, she's there. And she also has cross-trained in MRI, so she does do some MRI for us. It was a Friday. She had worked the night before because she normally works nights. So she went home after her 12-hour shift. There was an MRI on the floor that needed to be done, and our MRI tech that normally does MRIs was off that day. She didn't have to answer her phone. She didn't have to come in, but she came in without sleep, did that patient, and while she was here, there were 2 other patients that needed to be done, and she got those done before the weekend so they could get their reports back and get taken care of in a timely manner.
We worked 12-hour shifts at night, so I'd come in at 5:30, gotten off at 6. They called me about 7:30. I just dropped my kids off at school, was getting ready to go to bed. We need an MRI, can you come in? It was a pretty basic one. It wasn't one that was gonna take hours to do. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be there in about a half an hour. Came in, and while I was doing that one, we get a call from the ER stating, we've got an emergent patient, can you see this patient and do it now? And I'm like, sure. And then jokingly, someone goes, I bet they'll order another one, and about 20 minutes later, sure enough, another one came through. It was a Friday, and things need to be done before the weekend.
She doesn't need sleep.
No, I do eventually.
She's always, and that's what makes it so nice, is because we always know we can count on Robin.
You know, I don't see it as excellence. I see it as doing my job. My job is to not only be an x-ray tech, but to take care of the patients here. We're a small hospital. It's a family. You know, we count on each other to do certain things, and we have to. So nobody gets to drop the ball. Everybody shows up and does everything they can.
Servant. Nominated by Blaine Reichert, Angie Henning volunteered to make a special trip to Leavenworth on her day off to pick up needed supplies for an OB patient. Not only did Angie deliver the supplies, but she took the time to assist the patient in learning how to use them.
So I nominated Angie for the letter S, which is servant, because she took the time on her day off to make a trip to Leavenworth, pick up a specific device that one of our patients needed on the OB unit, and then she came back and took an additional amount of time to help that patient learn how to use the device and then to breastfeed successfully. She has a family and she took the time out of her day away from her family to do that. And she's always been one that, as a nurse, she goes above and beyond for not only her patients, but for also her coworkers.
It's an honor. I've been working here for 12 years. I do days. I take my job very seriously. I get very close to my patients. I bond with all them. I think as a unit, we bond well with each other. We bond well with patients. And all of us in this department are very good about serving the community, serving each other. We've taken care of our coworkers, our family, strangers. And so to better serve them, sometimes you have to go outside of your normal. And I just thought that I would do it for somebody and somebody would do that for me.
Throughout the past year, we received over 130 CARES WOW nominations. It was very challenging to select one CARES recipient for each letter. We do, however, feel these stories are worthy of the recognition. We hope you are just as touched and moved by them as we are.
Not really, because I don't cry.